Morning Facebook, Jackie Broman here from TBA Law. This is take 2 because I started the video just before and deleted it because everything was mirror image had been flipped. So it's a bit confusing to watch yourself in reverse. So here we go again. Happy Monday. I do a quick little legal tips and information every Monday morning in here, Facebook Live. So you can catch me every Monday unless it's a public holiday, which it is next week. So today I wanted to talk about the duties and obligations that attorneys have under a power of attorney. So I had done a video a little bit like this a couple of weeks ago when I was in Sydney, but the audio was really bad, and so I thought that I'd redo this topic again, okay? So duties and obligations of powers of attorney. So to begin with, the person appointed under a power of attorney should check when it actually begins. So it might not begin immediately, it might begin on a certain event, or it might begin once the person appointing you has lost capacity. So most of the powers of attorney that I prepare for people don't begin until someone loses capacity, because it just eliminates some of the elder abuse issues that arise sometimes. So if it doesn't begin until the person's lost capacity, you need a medical certificate to say that the capacity has been lost before the power of attorney can be triggered. Other things to check in the power of attorney. Has your power been limited, or do you have all the powers that can be given? If the power is limited to just financial decisions under a certain amount, or just accessing the bank account to pay bills, then that's all you can do. So double check that. Also double check whether there is anyone else appointed as attorney with you, and whether you have to act jointly or whether you can act separately. So those are the first things to check. When it begins, what powers you have, and whether you can act separately or have to act with someone else. Now, the things that you automatically can't do under an enduring power of attorney are that you can't vote for the person, you can't consent to marriage for the person, you can't consent to a divorce for the person, you can't redo their will. And the power of attorney ends once the person passes away. So you can't continue after the person passes away in the role of attorney. It's then the executor role that begins. Other things to know are some of the duties that you have if the person has lost capacity. So whether your power of attorney begins immediately or not, as soon as the person loses capacity, you have to give consideration to what the person's wishes would have been when you're acting for that person. You have to take steps to try and engage the person who's appointed you to participate in the decision-making process, even though they have lost capacity. So talk things through with them still. Their decisions might have to be led, but every now and then, and capacity is a really great area, there might be moments where they're fully switched on and then other moments when they're not. So still engage with them. And you have to act in their best interests, okay? So in their personal and social well-being. So those are some extra duties that arise once the person has lost capacity. Now, I'm just going to read from this document, because your actual duties are to act honestly, diligently, and in good faith, to exercise reasonable care and skill, not to use your position for profit. You can't get paid as a power of attorney. To avoid acting in any situations where there's a conflict of interest. So again, you can't benefit from the position. So you can't be paid for it, but you also can't benefit from it. Not to disclose confidential information, and keep accurate records of account. So there's a couple of really important points there. So keep yourself a spreadsheet of what you spend. It's easy if you've got access to a bank card and everything is done on bank card, because then it's all on the statement. Then just keep a note of what is being done. People though who deal with cash, and I've seen cash dissipate, it's dangerous as an attorney using cash. So do not take out lumps of cash and then use that for spending. If you do, keep a separate book again. Keep all the receipts for absolutely everything that you use the cash for. Then you cannot mix funds with your own funds. So you can't then put the cash into your own bank account because it's more convenient. So be really careful with those things. if you breach some of these laws, you can be investigated and made to pay money back, even if it was validly spent, okay? So I've recently had a fellow whose the power of attorney his mum appointed him under began immediately. His mum was still fine. She was giving him gifts of money while she was fine. But because he was appointed under the power of attorney, he was then considered to be conflicted and getting that cash as a profit of his position, even though he always said that no, she was giving the gift. However, then she lost capacity and it was never recorded anywhere that she wanted to make the gifts, and the family all took him to VCAT, and he's had to pay back in the realms of hundreds of thousands of dollars because he couldn't prove that it was gifted. And there was cash being spent. So the brother was wheeling mum down to the ATM to take cash out, and she would take cash out and then she would give it to him, or so there was a lot of cash that was missing as well. So you do have to be really careful as a power of attorney to keep good records, not to have anything arise where there could be an issue that the family could, blame you for. And gifts are really tricky. So you cannot take a gift from the person if you're the attorney, unless you've got something in writing, in the handwriting of the person, and after they've lost capacity, no more gifts. Even if you're the attorney and there are gifts made to your children by the person, that can also be tricky because it could be seen as you taking money from the person who's appointed you to give stuff to your children. So it can be fraught sometimes, depending on the family situation. But look, realistically, if you keep money separate, you're only spending the person's money on them and what they need, and you're exercising due diligence and skill and care. And if you do have to, for example, sell a house and then invest money, get professional advice on where to invest it. Don't just make the decision based on your neighbour or your friend who's made an investment. You do have a higher level of skill and care than you would for your own money, so please get professional advice. So those are some of the things, duties and obligations of powers of attorney. Now, I hope that was helpful. I will post this video onto Facebook so that if you didn't see it live, you can go back and find the video on Facebook and you can tag friends in it that you might think are relevant. So next Monday is a public holiday, so I won't be here, but watch out for the following Monday. The topic will be posted beforehand